I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Congressman Bill Pascrell Jr. made remarks about law enforcement on the House floor last week. He spoke in support of the Traumatic Brain Injury and Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Law Enforcement Training Act. The New Jersey Democrat believes the legislation is imperative to, quote, help officers handle difficult interactions with those suffering from TBI and post-traumatic stress disorder. His remarks came during National Police Week. Listen in for more.
The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from New Jersey, the Right Honorable, distinguished, and learned Mr. Pascrell.
The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, pull your mic up. Tanetta, this pandemic has been a grave hardship for our first responders. Men and women in blue have risked their lives every day. Last year was the deadliest ever for law enforcement. During National Police Week, we honor these heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice. They protect us, and we must have their backs, period. I've been co-chair of the Congressional Law Enforcement Caucus for many moons. I know our cops must have the training, the resources, and the personnel they need to keep our community safe. This bipartisan Traumatic Brain Injury and Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Law Enforcement Training Act, I believe, is a vital step. It will provide crisis intervention training grants. These federal funds will help officers handle difficult interactions with those suffering from TBI and post-traumatic stress disorder. I founded the Congressional Brain Injury Task Force in 2001 along with Dr. Greenwood. He was a Republican, I was a Democrat. He was from Pennsylvania, did an outstanding job and continues to do it in this area, which is so misunderstood, Mr. Chairman. And we didn't get to it till into the Iraq and Afghanistan with our veterans, with our soldiers on the front lines. And of course, it was a major injury in those both wars, post-traumatic stress disorder and TBI, traumatic brain injury. So for over 20 years, we've worked to draw attention to the struggle of millions of Americans living with long-term disabilities caused by traumatic brain injury. And now, of course, we're taking care of our vets. Can you imagine we went to war and we had no money in the budget? We had no programs to help those who most injured in the two wars that we got into. We were not prepared, and we suffered tremendous amount of injuries because of it. I'd like to thank Chairman Nadler and Chairman Pallone and the dedicated staff for their diligent work to bring the TBI and PTSD, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Law Enforcement Training Act, to the floor. I also want to thank Representatives Demings, Rutherford, and Bacon for co-leading this bipartisan effort. Finally, I want to thank our law enforcement and TBI community stakeholders who helped us craft and advance this important policy. These past couple of years have been difficult for our communities, and especially so for our men and women in uniform. The House stands with them during Police Week and after 2022. Thank you, and I yield back my time, Mr. Chairman. I'm honored to present this legislation.
The gentleman yields.